Get your tetanus shot. We're flipping gym equipment. We found this gym equipment posted on Marketplace for free. And as soon as we showed up, we immediately realized that we were dealing with a tetanus-riddled geriatric patient of gym equipment. I was young once. So I got started busting it down. I gave it a few good shakes just to figure out how I was going to get this accomplished. And after battling with the spiders and the weeds and whatever else was living in this fitness graveyard, I got it taken care of. Once I got it busted down and loaded up on the back of the trailer, it was off to get a protein shake. Once we got it home, we did an awkward crab walk to get it in the garage and see exactly what we were working with. And it was obvious this old man was crusted over with rust, dirt, and tears of workout past. And it became apparent to us that we might have bitten off more than we could chew for this trash to cast challenge. So step 1 is to get this broken down to the bare frame. That meant everything had to go. The foamies, the rollers, the pulleys, the cables, everything had to come off. And it was at this point that I realized that this project was going to be as difficult as shaving the dingleberry encrusted body fur off of a feral wild man. He was thoroughly set in his jungle ways and he just didn't want to be changed. But my boothang and I were determined to tame this decrepit beast. So with wire brushes in hand, we forged ahead. But before I go any further, can I just take a second to say, what are those? The soles of these shoes have definitely left the chat. I don't even think these shoes want to be alive at this point. Can someone let Converse know that this girl is using and abusing their shoes? Anyways, he was back to work and we were determined to grind this coal down into a shiny diamond. And then when we got tired of grinding, it was time to break out the toxic chemicals. Which seems appropriate for this gym set because toxic chemicals are what make the fitness industry great. And if you use toxic chemicals on your gym set can look great too.
Yay!
Anyways, the directions for this concoction said to let it sit for 10 minutes and then spray it off afterwards. And as a person that did the spraying, I can personally tell you that this was satisfying. And once we knocked most of the rust down, it was time to prep the surface for painting. So we broke out the orbital sander and slapped on an 80 grit. And when it came to the stubborn stickers that just wouldn't come off, I decided might as well grind it. And this too was also satisfying. I don't even remember what step we're on, but at this point we're supposed to wipe down the surface. And once we get done with that, it's on to painting. For this project, I used Rust-Oleum's protective enamel. And it came with a 5-in-1 nozzle. The 5-in-1 nozzle allows you to select between a horizontal fan, a vertical fan, and a whole bunch of others. And the coverage that came out of this little can was actually pretty good. Honestly, I wish all spray cans came with the 5-in-1 nozzle. And we chose this red color because we thought it would pop. And it does.
Great!
Step 53 is time to rub this pole down. So I got out my steel wool and I got to stroking. But after a while I realized it was time to break out the big gun. So I went back to the old faithful wire brush and I got back to wire brushing. But just look at that before and after. Honestly, the results speak for themselves. And in the middle of this process, it began to rain. So I had to relocate to the garage and continue working. And would you just look at all that rust dust? I'm glad I relocated to an enclosed space. Now it's time for priming. And I know what you might be thinking. Is painting steel guide rods that are subjected to continuous and constant friction a good idea? And that's a good question. And the answer is probably no. Come on down! We're building seat cushions. Have I ever built seat cushions? No. Am I absolutely winging this? Yes. Is this gonna turn out good? Well, we're gonna find out together. The first thing I did is I took my stapler and attached the foam to the board. Why I didn't use the glue that's in the frame that I specifically bought for this process, I don't know why. Probably because I'm dumb. Next, we wrap it up in leather. So I break out my Ryobi stapler and I get to stapling. And one thing I realized during this step is you gotta stretch the material as much as you can and then staple it to the board to get a good end result. And then you just repeat this process all the way around. And then bing, bang, boom, I got a seat back cushion as good as new. So then I just repeated the process with the seat cushion, but this time I wrapped the cushion around the corner so that when you sit on it, it doesn't actually stab you in the thigh. Stretch and staple, and now you got a seat. And I don't know about you, but I put my butt on that any day.
Excellent!
Step number 57 is time to screw the holes for the T-nuts. And that's actually not a dirty joke, they're really called T-nuts. And once this is done, we hammer the T-nuts into the wood. And once those nuts are good and hammered, we attach it to the frame. And for never having done this in my entire life, this actually turned out pretty good. And here's more product placement to help me get the job done. Alright, step 400, it's time to knock the cobwebs off this old man's joints. And once I got him cleaned up, I put him back on the frame. And to refresh your memory, this is the way it started out. Rusted, overgrown with weeds, riddled with arthritis. And here he is, in all his glory. The once decrepit, rusted shell of a man has been transformed into a machine any bodybuilder would be proud to sweat all over. What do you think I should try to sell this for? And if you said $100 million, I agree with you. Follow along as we make our way to $1 bajillion gajillion, one flip at a time.